Is Harry the wild card in the royal family, or the screwed-up kid who still misses his mother?
I was so angry with what happened to her. No one was talking about it. Because my father used to say to me when I was younger, it was like that for me, so it's going to be like that for you.
The real family feud is between the princes and their father.
There have been rumours of heated rows and angry telephone calls.
I will not be bullied into playing a game that killed my mum.
Is Charles betraying Harry the way he betrayed Diana?
Your relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, persistently unfaithful to your wife.
Why would Charles leave his sons with a woman their mother despised?
I'm not a total idiot.
They're the most cold people on this earth.
They see me as a threat of some kind. I'm not a destructive person.
Family members have said, just play the game and your life will be easier. But I've got a hell of a lot of my mum in me.
When no one listens to, all sorts of things start to happen.
If he's provoked, he can fly off the handle.
In a fit of temper, Harry hit a photographer outside a London nightclub.
It's another right royal mess. And once again, it's Prince Harry who's in the firing line.
Do you now expect this issue to go away?
But it would be nice if it did.
My father always stopped taking my calls.
What do you think your mom would say?
William was 15 and Harry almost 13 when they walked behind their mother's coffin in view of the watching world.
Before I knew it, I found myself, with a suit on and with a black tie, and I was part of it. At that point, I was still in shock. Disbelief, refused to accept it. I was outside of my body and just walking along doing what was expected of me. Showing 1/10 of the emotion that everybody else was showing.
The boy had lost a mummy who he absolutely adored, and he has been thrust onto the world stage.
Heartbroken, Harry couldn't understand why Charles wasn't fighting for Diana.
One of the feelings that comes up with me always is the helplessness. Being too young to be able to help your mother.
Was anybody talking about it around?
No one was talking about it.
They are coping extraordinarily well.
Because my father used to say to me when I was younger, it was like that for me, so it's going to be like that for you.
Just days after their mother's funeral, Charles left his grieving sons in the hands of their nanny, Tiggy.
Diana used to get really annoyed with Tiggy because she felt Tiggy wasn't looking after the boys properly, and she let Harry abseil down a rock without a protective helmet, and she was furious. She loathed Tiggy.
Why would Charles leave his sons with a woman their mother despised?
Left alone with his grief, Harry bottled things up.
If I think about her, then it's going to bring up the fact that I can't bring her back. I didn't have anyone to turn to. The family, they very much have this mentality of, this is just how it is. Pain that is not transformed ends up coming out in all sorts of different ways. I was willing to drink, I was willing to take drugs, I was willing to try and do the things that made me feel less like I was feeling. I would probably drink a week's worth in one day on a Friday or a Saturday night.
He has veered off the rails because he hasn't had the father figure there all the time when he's needed him.
Still reeling from Diana's death, Harry hit a breaking point.
I was so angry with what happened to her and the fact that there was no justice at all. She was very much still alive on the back seat, and those people that caused the accident, instead of helping, were taking photographs of her dying on the back seat. Every single time I hear a click, every single time I see a flash, it takes me straight back.
He's on a short fuse most of the time, and if he's provoked, he can fly off the handle.
In a fit of temper, Harry hit a photographer outside a London nightclub. Charles scarcely knows what to do about his younger son's behaviour. There have been rumours of heated rows and angry telephone calls.
Family members have said, just play the game and your life will be easier. But I've got a hell of a lot of my mum in me.
Diana had never been one to follow the rules either.
Diana burst through the monarchy like a sort of blazing comet.
I remember when I used to sit on hospital beds and hold people's hands, people used to be sort of shocked because they said they'd never seen this before. And to me it was quite a normal thing to do. And I'm here to do good.
It was that love that even if she was on the other side of a room, you could feel it.
She used her power to break down the walls that the monarchy had built to protect itself.
They see me as a threat of some kind, so I'm not a destructive person.
The best lesson that I learned from her is be yourself.
Their father believes that they will need one quality above all.
Good manners. which I think a lot of people have forgotten.
Charles was going to do whatever it took to stop his son from rebelling like Diana had.
Aged 20, his father handed him over to the Sandhurst Military Academy. The regime here is unforgiving.
Many of the cadets who turn up have been used to working for 4 hours a day and sleeping for 20, and our aim is generally to reverse that cycle.
But Charles didn't know Harry like Diana had.
Harry's always been interested in the military. That's what Diana is explaining to me. Harry will be fine because he's always loved the military.
It's very easy to completely forget about who I am when I'm in the army. I am one of the guys.
But when he was deployed to the front line, Harry threw himself into serving his fellow soldiers.
If they said, no, you can't go front line, the last thing I want to do is have my soldiers sent away. And for me to be held back home thinking, well, what about David? What about Derek?
But Harry was soon pulled away from the men he was trying to save.
I'd done everything I could to get out there. Literally being plucked out of my team. I'm an officer, I'm leaving my soldiers, and it's not my own decision. I was broken.
But what Harry saw on the plane back to England changed everything.
And while I'm sitting there, I look through the curtain in the front, and there's 3 of our lads wrapped up in plastic, missing limbs. And I suddenly thought to myself, people don't get to see this.
Harry realized to truly be like his mom, he had to stop lashing out and start fighting for others.
My mum clearly taught me a certain set of values, of which I will always try and uphold.
The now 31-year-old royal dedicating himself to supporting wounded warriors and his mother's legacy.
These people are role models, and they need to be celebrated more amongst society.
But when he fell for an outsider, Meghan Markle, all the pain he thought he'd left behind came rushing back.
His great fear now that his wife is subject to the same pressures as his mother was.
All of a sudden, all of this grief that I'd never processed started to come to the forefront. I really regret not ever talking about it. For the first 28 years of my life, never talked about it. I knew that if I didn't do the therapy and fix myself, that I was going to lose this woman who I could see spending the rest of my life with.
And when Harry became a new dad, he was desperate to protect his son. So he reached out to Charles one last time.
Meghan Markle and baby Archie, favorite targets of ruthless media. What will the royal family do?
What I was seeing was history repeating itself. My father, he stopped taking my calls. I feel really let down, and Archie's his grandson.
And when Charles didn't step up, Harry had only one choice to help Archie.
Isn't this all about breaking the cycle? That whatever pain and suffering has happened to you that you don't pass on? That was one of the biggest reasons to leave. I know that it's my responsibility and my duty to break that cycle. What it had come to, that I would step my family back from all I have ever known, to take a step forward into what I hope can be a more peaceful life.
I will always protect my family, and now I have a family to protect.
Prince Harry is carrying on his mother's legacy in his new life away from the royals, dedicating his time to serving others through his new non-profit company, Archwell.
But by breaking the cycle, Harry created a brighter future not just for his son, but for many others as well.
I hope that a lot of my mother's talents are shown in a lot of the work that I do. I have no doubt that my mum would be incredibly proud of me. I'm living the life that she wanted to live for herself, living the life that she wanted us to be able to live. Now I'm in a place where I feel as though I should have been years ago. We've got a beautiful little boy and then another little baby girl. I never dreamt that. I'm on my way to having healed that part of my life. Those younger years, I'm still the person that I was, but I'm just a better version of that.